The printout is flimsy in my hand, a stark white against the dark mahogany of Mark's desk. 2 e-tickets to paradise, or rather, to my sister Sarah's destination wedding. One name is Mark's. The other, printed in the same bland, corporate font, is Ms. Evelyn Hayes. My breath catches. The air in his home office, usually smelling of old books and his favorite sandalwood cologne, suddenly feels thick, suffocating. Evelyn Hayes. The name echoes in the sudden, roaring silence of my mind. It's not a colleague. It's not a cousin I've never met. My fingers, I realize, are trembling, crushing the edge of the paper. This isn't just a ticket. It's a detonation pin. And the world I knew, the carefully constructed life we shared, is about to fragment into a million unrecognizable pieces. He wouldn't. He couldn't. But the evidence is right here, cold and irrefutable. First class. He's flying his mistress first class to my baby sister's wedding. The audacity of it, the sheer, unmitigated gall, slams into me with the force of a physical blow. A low hum starts in my ears, the precursor to a storm I can feel gathering deep inside me. If you've ever felt that sickening lurch in your stomach, that moment where the floor just drops out from under you, tell me in the comments. I read every single one. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. It means more than you know, knowing you're out there listening. Our life, or what I believed our life to be, was comfortable, predictable in a way I found soothing. Mark and I, we were a team. 10 years. A decade of shared mornings, inside jokes, navigating careers and family dramas. Our home, a lovingly restored Victorian, was my sanctuary, filled with light and laughter, or so I thought. His law practice was thriving. My work as a freelance graphic designer gave me flexibility. We weren't wildly passionate in the way you see in movies, not anymore, but there was a deep, steady current of affection, a history that bound us. Or so I believed. I loved our quiet evenings, the way he'd hum off-key while making coffee, the comforting weight of his arm around me on the sofa. These small moments, I realize now, were the bricks and mortar of a facade. My sister, Sarah, is my everything. Younger by 5 years, she's the bright, bubbly counterpoint to my more reserved nature. Her wedding, a joyful, sun-drenched affair planned for a small resort in the Caribbean, has been the focus of our family's energy for the past year. I've poured hours into helping her, designing the invitations, consulting on flower arrangements, being the calm older sister she could lean on. Mark had seemed supportive, if a little distracted. "Whatever makes your sister happy, honey," he'd say, patting my hand before turning back to his emails. His enthusiasm was muted, but I chalked it up to work stress. He was always stressed about work. That was Mark. Solid, dependable, a little preoccupied. Not deceitful. Not cruel. Or so I thought. The wedding is meant to be a pinnacle of joy, a celebration of love. And now this ugly, sordid secret, printed on cheap airline paper, threatening to curdle everything. The name, Evelyn Hayes, doesn't ring any bells at first. I sift through my memories of Mark's colleagues, clients, distant acquaintances. Nothing. It's a blank. A ghost. But the first-class designation, that stings with a particular venom. We always flew coach, unless it was a work trip for him where the company paid. Fiscal responsibility, he'd always preached, a mantra I'd adopted. Yet, for Ms. Evelyn Hayes, no expense is spared. My stomach churns. This isn't a casual fling. This is a statement. A deliberate, calculated insult layered on top of the betrayal. My first instinct is to scream, to shatter the calm of this house with a rage that's clawing its way at my throat. To confront him the moment he walks through the door, wave this paper in his face, watch him squirm. But a cold, unfamiliar voice in my head whispers, no. Not yet. This discovery, this raw, jagged wound, needs more than just an explosion of anger. It needs strategy. If he's capable of this level of deception, of planning to parade his affair at my sister's sacred event, then a simple confrontation won't be enough. It feels like he's underestimated me, written me off as predictable, perhaps even weak. A dangerous miscalculation on his part. The days that follow are a blur of forced smiles and internal torment. I watch Mark, searching for cracks in his composure, for any sign that he knows I know. He's infuriatingly normal. He kisses me goodbye in the morning, his lips cool against my cheek. He asks about my day, his eyes not quite meeting mine. He talks about the wedding, about how much Sarah is looking forward to it, how he's already picked out his linen suit. Each word is a tiny, poisoned dart. The hypocrisy is breathtaking. I find myself studying his face, the lines around his eyes, the set of his jaw, as if seeing him for the first time. Who is this man I've shared my bed with, my life with? Sleep becomes a luxury I can't afford. My nights are spent staring at the ceiling, the e-ticket a burning brand in my mind. Evelyn Hayes. I type her name into every search engine, every social media platform. Nothing concrete. She's a ghost or very, very careful. But Mark isn't. His digital footprint, once uninteresting, now becomes a treasure trove. Late-night work meetings that never happened, confirmed by a quick, discreet call to his office a few days later, feigning a forgotten message. Credit card statements I now scrutinize with a forensic intensity, noticing charges for dinners I wasn't at, hotel bars in our own city. Small amounts, easily overlooked if you weren't looking. But I am looking now. Oh, I am looking with eyes wide open. The pain is a constant companion, a dull ache in my chest that flares into sharp agony at unexpected moments. Seeing a happy couple on TV. Hearing a love song on the radio. Looking at photos of Sarah, her face radiant with excitement for her wedding. How can I protect her from this? How can I ensure her day isn't tainted by this filth? The thought of Mark standing there, a guest of honor, with his mistress possibly smirking from the sidelines, makes me physically ill. I consider telling Sarah, telling my parents. But the thought of their pain, their disappointment, especially so close to the wedding, is unbearable. This is my burden to carry, my battle to fight. I feel an immense pressure to maintain the facade, to keep the wedding plans on track, to be the supportive sister and the dutiful wife. It's exhausting. I move through my days like an automaton, plastering on a smile, discussing floral arrangements and seating charts, while inside, a silent war rages. One evening, Mark comes home with a small, beautifully wrapped gift. Just because, he says, a charming, boyish grin on his face. It's a delicate silver locket, something I would have adored a few weeks ago. Now, it feels like a prop, another piece of his elaborate deception. I open it, my fingers fumbling with a clasp. "Thank you, Mark," I say, my voice carefully neutral. "It's lovely," he beams, oblivious. Or perhaps not oblivious. Perhaps he's enjoying this twisted game. The thought sends a shiver of ice down my spine. This isn't just infidelity. This is psychological warfare. The deeper I dig, the more I unearth. A burner phone, tucked away in his gym bag. I don't know the password, but the fact of its existence is enough. Whispered phone calls he takes in the garden, his back to the house. The way his eyes linger a little too long on his phone, a small, secretive smile playing on his lips. Each discovery is like another turn of the knife. I'm living in a nightmare, but I'm wide awake. My anger is slowly crystallizing, hardening from a molten rage into something cold, sharp, and focused. He thinks he's in control. He thinks he's going to get away with this. He's about to find out just how wrong he is. The weight of it all, the secrecy, the impending confrontation, it's like walking through quicksand. Every day, I sink a little deeper. Sarah calls, bubbling with last-minute wedding anxieties. "Do you think the blush roses are too blush, Anna? Should we have gone with cream?" And I force a lightness into my voice I don't feel. "They'll be perfect, sweetie. Everything will be perfect." The lie tastes like ash in my mouth. Mark, meanwhile, is the picture of the doting brother-in-law-to-be. He offers to help with luggage logistics, makes jovial small talk with my parents about flight schedules. He even bought a new, outrageously expensive camera to capture all the special moments. The irony is a bitter pill. He's so confident, so smugly secure in his deception. He chats about the resort, the planned snorkeling trip, the rehearsal dinner under the stars. He mentions casually that he's looking forward to a stress-free vacation. My nails dig into my palms. One afternoon, I'm at my desk, ostensibly working on a design project, but my mind is a maelstrom. I stare at the picture of Mark and me from our last anniversary, his arm around my shoulder, both of us smiling for the camera. Was it all a lie even then? The pain is so acute, it's almost physical. I feel a wave of despair wash over me. What if I can't do this? What if I break? What if he wins? The thought of him, triumphant, with her at my sister's wedding, enjoying the sun and the celebration while I'm left shattered, is a special kind of hell. This isn't just about his betrayal of me. It's about his desecration of something sacred to my family. And then something shifts. It's not a sudden epiphany, more like a slow, dawning realization. I'm staring at my reflection in the darkened computer screen, tired eyes, a tight line to my mouth. And I see not just pain, but a flicker of something else. Resilience. Anger, yes, but a cold, focused anger. He expects tears, recriminations, a messy, emotional breakdown. He expects me to collapse. He doesn't expect me to fight back. Not like this. He thinks he's playing chess, but he doesn't even see the board I'm setting up. The idea begins as a whisper, a dangerous, thrilling thought. What if I don't just expose him? What if I control the narrative? What if I make sure that if anyone's day is ruined, it's his, not Sarah's? The resort is exclusive, a bit remote. Security is tight, but their resort security, geared towards lost towels and over-imbibing tourists, not this. I remember a conversation from years ago, a friend who'd used a private security firm for a high-profile corporate event. Discretion, professionalism, the ability to handle delicate situations. A new kind of energy courses through me. It's not happiness, not by a long shot. It's determination. A chilling, exhilarating resolve. I spend an entire afternoon researching firms, making discreet inquiries. I tell them I'm concerned about potential gatecrashers, wedding crashers, given the destination and the profile of some of the guests, a small, plausible lie. I need a team that can be invisible until they need to be visible. People who can handle an unwanted guest with quiet efficiency. The phrase unwanted guest feels like a monumental understatement for Evelyn Hayes. I make the booking. It's expensive, a significant chunk of my personal savings, but the thought of Mark's face when his carefully laid plans unravel is priceless. I imagine Evelyn, all smug in her first-class finery, being politely but firmly turned away. The image fuels me, gives me strength. This is no longer just about pain and betrayal. It's about justice. It's about protecting my sister. It's about reclaiming my own dignity. I am not a victim in his sordid little drama. I am the goddamn director. The days leading up to our departure for the Caribbean are thick with a tension only I seem to feel. Mark is solicitous, almost overly affectionate. Are you packed, honey? Did you remember your good sun hat? He fusses over my luggage, a performance of husbandly care that now makes my skin crawl. He seems to be floating on a cloud of self-satisfaction, convinced he's orchestrated the perfect clandestine getaway alongside a family obligation. The arrogance is astounding. He truly believes he has me fooled, that I'm oblivious, perhaps even a little dim. This underestimation is his greatest weakness, and it will be my greatest weapon. I find myself observing him with a detached curiosity, like a scientist studying an unfamiliar and rather repellent species. The way he preens in front of the mirror, adjusting the collar of his new linen shirt. The secretive texts that make him smile faintly. The way he talks about getting away from it all, his eyes holding a gleam that has nothing to do with family bonding. Each observation is another piece of kindling on the pyre of my resentment. Sarah calls daily, her voice a mixture of excitement and last-minute jitters. Anna, I'm so glad you and Mark are coming early. I need you. I really, really need you. Her words are a fresh stab of guilt. I'm carrying this toxic secret, this ticking bomb, into the heart of her happiest moment. But the alternative, letting Mark detonate it himself, on his terms, in the middle of her wedding, is unthinkable. My plan is risky. It could go sideways. It could still cause a scene. But it's a controlled demolition, not the chaotic explosion Mark is blithely planning. The night before our flight, I can barely sleep. I lie in bed, rigid, listening to Mark's even breathing beside me. How can he sleep so soundly, with such treachery in his heart? I slip out of bed, go to the spare room, and pull out the folder. It's thicker now. Screenshots of suggestive texts I managed to glimpse on his unlocked phone one evening. Dates and times of clandestine meetings pieced together from credit card slips and vague excuses. And, of course, the e-ticket for Ms. Evelyn Hayes, now creased and worn from my repeated, angry handling. I even managed to find a photo. A social media deep dive, cross-referencing names from a charity gala Mark attended for work months ago, yielded a picture of him talking animatedly to a striking brunette. A little more digging, a name tag barely visible in another shot from the same event. Evelyn H. Bingo. Her face is etched in my memory now, confident, polished, the kind of woman who knows what she wants and probably always gets it. Not this time. The flight is an exercise in supreme self-control. Mark is in high spirits, chatty with the flight attendants, already in vacation mode. He orders champagne. To Sarah and Tom he toasts, clinking his plastic cup against mine. I manage a tight smile. To Sarah and Tom, he has no idea he's toasting his own downfall. I spend the flight reading or pretending to read, my mind racing, rehearsing every step of my plan. I've already been in contact with the head of the small security team I've hired. They'll be at the resort, blending in, 2 men, 2 women, discreet and professional. They have Evelyn's photo. They have their instructions. We land in paradise. The air is warm, humid, fragrant with tropical flowers. The resort is stunning, all whitewashed villas and turquoise water. My family is already there, beaming, excited. Sarah throws her arms around me. You made it. Oh, Anna, it's going to be perfect. Her joy is a painful contrast to the knot of dread and anticipation in my stomach. Mark is instantly Mr. Charm, greeting my parents, laughing with my brother-in-law-to-be, Tom. He's in his element. The loving husband, the supportive family man. The hypocrisy is a physical weight. The pre-wedding festivities begin, a welcome barbecue on the beach, a rehearsal dinner under a canopy of fairy lights. Mark is everywhere, the life of the party, his arm possessively around my waist when my parents are near, then drifting off, phone in hand, when he thinks no one is watching. I see him glance towards the resort and trance a few times, a flicker of anticipation? Or am I imagining it? The stress is immense. I feel like a tightly wound spring. Several times, I have to excuse myself, retreating to the restroom to splash cold water on my face, to take deep, ragged breaths, to remind myself, stay calm.
Stick to the plan.
I see her before Mark does. It's the evening of the rehearsal dinner. We're all gathered on a beautiful terrace overlooking the ocean. Sarah is glowing. Tom is endearingly nervous. My parents are misty-eyed. And then, a figure appears at the edge of the terrace, near the entrance from the main resort building. A woman in a stylish, understated but expensive-looking cocktail dress. Dark hair, a confident posture. Evelyn Hayes. My blood runs cold. She's early. The ticket was for the day of the wedding, not before. Or perhaps she bought an earlier ticket herself, eager to start her vacation. She scans the crowd, a small, knowing smile on her lips. Her eyes lock onto Mark, who is currently schmoozing with some of Tom's relatives. Mark hasn't seen her yet. My heart hammers against my ribs. This is it. This is where it all could implode before I'm ready. My security team, I know, is not scheduled to be fully active until the wedding day itself, though I had one operative, a woman named Carter, arrive early to familiarize herself with the resort layout, under the guise of being an assistant to the wedding planner. I subtly scan the periphery. Carter is near the bar, looking like any other guest, but her eyes are watchful. Evelyn takes a step forward, then another, moving with a predatory grace. Mark turns, laughs at something someone said, and then he sees her. His smile freezes. For a split second, sheer panic flashes across his face, quickly masked by a strained attempt at nonchalance. He makes a subtle, almost imperceptible gesture with his hand. A wait, or stay there signal. Evelyn pauses, her smile faltering slightly, a flicker of annoyance in her eyes. She clearly expected a warmer welcome, perhaps even to be integrated into this pre-wedding gathering. My mind races. This is not how I envisioned it. She's here, now. My sister is just a few feet away, laughing, oblivious. If Mark tries to bring her over, if he causes a scene here, tonight, I can't let that happen. The carefully constructed calm I've been cultivating threatens to shatter. This is the deepening crisis, the moment where everything feels like it's about to spin wildly out of control, away from my meticulously laid plans. I feel a wave of nausea. He's going to ruin everything, just as I feared. He's going to detonate his bomb right here, right now, in the middle of this intimate family celebration. The air crackles with unspoken tension, a silent, invisible battle of wills being waged across the candlelit terrace. Evelyn stands poised at the edge of the gathering, a panther ready to pounce, her gaze fixed on Mark. Mark, trapped between his mistress and his unsuspecting in-laws, looks like a man walking a tightrope over a shark tank. He throws a furtive, panicked glance in my direction. Does he suspect I know? Or is he just terrified of the impending collision of his two worlds? I meet his gaze, my expression deliberately, icily blank. No accusation, no anger, just nothing. This seems to unnerve him more than an outburst would have. He looks away quickly, running a hand through his hair. He needs to get her out of sight, and fast. I see him subtly trying to signal her again, a slight inclination of his head towards the exit, a desperate plea in his eyes. But Evelyn isn't budging. Her chin is up, a stubborn set to her jaw. She didn't fly all this way, presumably in first class, to be shooed away like an unwanted stray. She expects to be acknowledged, to be included. The sheer audacity of both of them takes my breath away. My sister, Sarah, blissfully unaware, chooses that exact moment to walk over to Mark. "There you are," she says, linking her arm through his. "Come on, Dad's about to make a toast." Mark's face is a mask of forced joviality. "Coming, sweetie," he says, his voice a little too loud, a little too hearty. He allows himself to be pulled towards the center of the group, but not before shooting one last, desperate look at Evelyn. Her eyes narrow. This is escalating. I feel a cold calm descend over me, the eye of the storm. My initial panic recedes, replaced by a grim resolve. He will not ruin this night for Sarah. I catch Carter's eye across the terrace. She gives a tiny, almost imperceptible nod. She's seen Evelyn. She understands. While her primary instructions were for the wedding day, her brief was to handle any disruptions. This, I decide, qualifies as a disruption. I watch as Carter subtly, gracefully makes her way towards Evelyn. She doesn't rush. She moves like she belongs there. Just another guest. She reaches Evelyn, leans in, and says something quietly. I can't hear the words, but I see Evelyn's posture stiffen. Her head snaps towards Carter, her expression one of affronted indignation. Carter's demeanor is calm, polite, but utterly firm. There's a brief, low-voiced exchange. Evelyn gestures dismissively, then seems to realize Carter isn't going to be easily dismissed. Carter says something else, perhaps mentions resort policy or the private nature of the event. Evelyn's face flushes with anger. She casts a furious look at Mark, who is now trapped listening to my father's heartfelt, rambling toast, a sickly smile plastered on his face. Then, to my immense relief, Evelyn turns on her heel and strides away, her angry footsteps echoing slightly on the stone terrace. She doesn't look back. Carter watches her go, then blends back into the periphery, as if nothing happened. A small crisis averted, but the main event is yet to come. Mark visibly sags with relief when he notices Evelyn is gone, though he tries to hide it. He catches my eye again, a questioning, almost pleading look. I offer him nothing. Just a cool, level stare. Let him sweat. Let him wonder. This little preview, this unexpected skirmish, has only strengthened my resolve. He's playing a dangerous game, and he's about to lose spectacularly. The wedding day looms, and with it, the final act of this miserable play. And I, for one, am ready for the curtain to fall. The morning of the wedding dawns bright and suffocatingly beautiful. The sky is a perfect, cloudless blue. The gentle lapping of waves against the shore is a serene soundtrack to the turmoil raging inside me. Sarah is a bundle of joyful nerves, flitting around her suite like a hummingbird, her bridesmaids fussing over her hair and makeup. I'm there, playing my part, the calm, supportive older sister. I help her with her veil, my fingers surprisingly steady. I tell her she's beautiful, and she is, breathtakingly so. But beneath the surface, I'm a coiled spring, every nerve ending alive with anticipation and a grim sort of dread. Today is the day. Today, Mark's betrayal and Evelyn's brazen intrusion will be met not with my tears or hysterics, but with cold, calculated precision. I had a final, early morning briefing with Carter and the rest of her team. 2 men, David and Ken, and another woman, Maria. All ex-military or former law enforcement, chosen for their professionalism and ability to handle high-stress situations with absolute discretion. They are now officially on duty, dispersed throughout the resort, connected by discreet earpieces. They have Evelyn's photo, her name, and clear instructions. If Ms. Hayes attempts to attend any wedding-related event, she is to be intercepted, informed she is not on the guest list, and politely but irrevocably escorted from the premises. If she resists, they are authorized to involve resort security, but their primary goal is a quiet, firm removal. She might try to make a scene, I tell Carter, my voice low and steady. We're standing on a secluded balcony, away from the wedding preparations. She seems entitled. Carter's eyes, a cool, assessing gray, meet mine. We're prepared for that, ma'am. Our priority is to ensure the integrity of your sister's wedding. Minimal disruption. And Mark, I add, the name a bitter taste. My husband. He invited her. He will likely react poorly. We're aware of Mr. Thompson's connection to the individual, Carter says. Our instructions are clear regarding Ms. Hayes. Mr. Thompson's reaction is something we will observe, but our focus remains on her removal. There's a part of me, a small, vindictive part, that is looking forward to Mark's reaction. But mostly, I feel a profound sadness. This isn't a victory I ever wanted to win. This is the demolition of my marriage, playing out on what should be one of the happiest days of my sister's life. But I've made my choice. I've chosen to protect Sarah, to protect my family, and in doing so, to reclaim some measure of control from the man who tried to strip it all away. I put on my dress, a soft lavender chiffon that Sarah helped me pick. It feels like armor. My makeup is carefully applied, a mask of serene composure. Looking in the mirror, I see a stranger staring back, a woman with eyes that are too bright, too hard. The woman I was just a few weeks ago, the trusting, slightly naive wife, is gone. In her place is someone else, someone forged in the fires of betrayal and quiet fury. The ceremony is beautiful, held in a flower-decked gazebo overlooking the ocean. Sarah is radiant. Tom is verklempt. My parents are weeping openly. I manage to hold it together, a fixed smile on my face, my eyes scanning the periphery of the assembled guests. No sign of Evelyn. Mark is next to me, playing the part of the proud brother-in-law. He seems tense, his eyes darting around more than usual. He knows she's here, at the resort. He knows she was expecting to be part of this. He's probably wondering where she is, why she hasn't made an appearance. Good. Let him wonder. Let him stew in his own deceit. The reception is held in a grand, open-air pavilion. Fairy lights twinkle, music plays, champagne flows. Speeches are made, toasts are offered. I dance with my father, I laugh with my cousins, I congratulate Sarah and Tom a dozen times. All the while, a part of my mind is on high alert, a silent sentinel. Mark is becoming increasingly agitated. He keeps checking his phone, excusing himself to make calls, his voice low and urgent. He's looking for her. He's trying to manage her.
The fool.
He still thinks he's in control. And then I see her. She's slipped in somehow. Perhaps she bypassed the main entrance, found a side way in. Or perhaps she simply waited for a moment when the ushers were distracted. She's standing near the edge of the dance floor, dressed in a slinky, champagne-colored dress that is just a little too attention-grabbing for a wedding guest who isn't the bride. Her eyes are scanning the room, and they lock onto Mark. A triumphant little smirk plays on her lips. She's done it. She's here. She's defied him, defied me, defied everyone. Mark sees her too. His face goes pale. He looks trapped, horrified. He glances at me, then quickly away. He starts to move towards her, probably to try and hustle her out quietly, to do damage control. But it's too late. I give a signal. A tiny, almost imperceptible nod to Carter, who is positioned near the bar, looking like she's waiting for a drink. Carter moves with swift, silent efficiency. David and Ken, who are subtly flanking the main thoroughfares, begin to converge. Evelyn, seeing Mark approach, takes a confident step forward, her smile widening. She's about to greet him, to stake her claim. But before she can reach him, Carter is there, materializing as if from nowhere. "Ms. Hayes?" Carter's voice is polite, but firm, carrying just enough for those nearby to hear if they're paying attention, but not enough to cause an immediate scene. Evelyn stops, surprised. "Yes?" she says, a hint of impatience in her tone. "I'm afraid you're not on the guest list for this private event," Carter states, calm and unwavering. David is now subtly positioned to Evelyn's left, Ken to her right, effectively boxing her in, though not in an overtly aggressive way. They look like concerned fellow guests, perhaps. Evelyn's face flushes a dark, angry red. "What are you talking about?" "I'm with Mark Thompson. He's expecting me." She gestures towards Mark, who is frozen a few feet away, watching this unfold with a look of utter horror. "I'm sorry, Ms. Hayes," Carter continues, her voice still level. "We need to ask you to come with us." "Don't you dare touch me," Evelyn hisses, her voice rising. "Mark. Mark, tell them." All eyes are now turning towards the commotion. The music falters.
Konversationsdie down.
A hush falls over the pavilion. This is it. The moment of truth. My heart is pounding, a frantic drum against my ribs, but my face, I hope, remains serene. Mark looks like he's about to be physically sick. He takes a hesitant step forward. There seems to be some mistake," he stammers, his voice weak. She's a friend." Carter doesn't even glance at Mark. Her focus is entirely on Evelyn. "Ms. Hayes, please. Let's not cause a scene. If you'll just come with us, we can discuss this outside." "A scene?" Evelyn laughs, a harsh, brittle sound. "You're the ones causing a scene. I am a guest here. He invited me." She points an accusatory, manicured finger at Mark. "He flew me here. First class." The words hang in the suddenly silent air. First class. I see my mother's face pale. My father looks confused, then angry. Sarah, bless her innocent heart, just looks bewildered. "Mark," Sarah whispers, her voice trembling. What is she talking about? Mark is crumbling. His carefully constructed facade is shattering before everyone's eyes. He opens his mouth, but no sound comes out. He looks from Evelyn, to me, to my sister, his face a mask of dawning, abject terror. "Ms. Hayes," David says, his voice quiet but carrying an unmistakable note of authority. "You need to leave." Now he takes a step closer. Evelyn tries to push past him, towards Mark.
"Mark.
Don't let them do this." But Ken is there, blocking her path. They are not aggressive, but they are implacable. They are a wall she cannot breach. "I will not be treated this way." Evelyn shrieks, her voice now shrill, losing all composure. "I'm his guest. This is outrageous." Mark finally finds his voice, but it's not the one of a man in control. It's the shriek of a cornered animal. "What is the meaning of this?" He yells, not at Evelyn, but at Carter and her team. Who are you people? Let her go. She's with me. Carter turns her cool gaze on Mark. Sir, this is a private matter. We are handling it. Handling it. Mark sputters, his face contorting with rage and panic. You're harassing my guest. I'll have your jobs. I'll sue. But his threats are empty, impudent. He knows it. Everyone knows it. He's exposed, flailing, his world collapsing around him in real time. Evelyn, seeing Mark's pathetic display, seems to realize she's lost. Her fight drains out of her, replaced by a look of utter humiliation and fury. She glares at Mark, a look of pure venom. You bastard, she spits. Then, she allows Carter and David to gently, but firmly, steer her towards the exit. Ken follows, a silent, imposing rear guard. She doesn't look back. The entire encounter, from Carter's first word to Evelyn's exit, has taken perhaps 2 minutes, but it feels like an eternity. The pavilion is silent, save for Mark's ragged breathing. He turns, his eyes wild, and they find me. I'm standing exactly where I was, watching him. My expression is calm, perhaps even a little satisfied. Anna, he whispers, his voice hoarse. Anna, what did you do? Me, Mark? I raise an eyebrow. I did nothing. It seems your guest wasn't on the list. My voice is cold, clear, carrying easily in the stunned silence. And apparently, she has a fondness for first-class travel. At whose expense, I wonder? The implications of my words, of Evelyn's accusation, hang heavy in the air. The wedding guests, my family, my friends, are all staring, mouths agape. My sister looks like she's about to cry. My father looks like he's about to commit murder. Mark stares at me, his face a kaleidoscope of disbelief, rage, and a dawning, sickening understanding. He finally sees it. He sees the steel in my eyes. He sees the woman he's so grievously underestimated. And then he screams. Not a word, just a raw, guttural sound of pure, unadulterated fury and despair. He screams like a man who has just watched his entire life go up in flames.
Because, in a way, he has.
He lunges, not at me, but just blindly, lashing out at the air, at his own ruined reality. Tom, Sarah's new husband, steps forward, placing a protective hand on Sarah's arm, positioning himself slightly between Mark and the rest of us. My father takes a menacing step towards Mark, but my mother puts a restraining hand on his arm. Mark's scream dissolves into a choked sob. He looks around at the shocked faces, the judgment in their eyes. He sees my calm, unwavering gaze. And something in him breaks. He stumbles back, his bravado, his arrogance, his entire carefully constructed persona, utterly demolished. He looks utterly, completely, and satisfyingly defeated. The mistress is gone. His reputation is in tatters. And his wife is watching him burn, and she isn't lifting a finger to put out the flames. In fact, she's the one who struck the match. The silence that descends after Mark's primal scream is heavier than any sound. He stands there, panting, his expensive linen suit suddenly looking rumpled and pathetic. His eyes dart around, looking for an escape, for an ally, but find only condemnation and shock. My sister, Sarah, is pale, her hand gripping Tom's tightly, but her eyes, when they meet mine, hold not just confusion, but a dawning understanding and a fierce, unexpected loyalty. My parents are frozen, my mother's face a mask of distress, my father's jaw tight with a barely suppressed rage. The guests are whispering, a low murmur that fills the pavilion like the rustling of dry leaves. Mark's gaze fixes on me again, desperate, pleading, furious, all at once. Anna, you planned this. He chokes out, the accusation raw. Planned what, Mark? I ask, my voice still deceptively calm. Planned for my sister to have a beautiful wedding, uninterrupted by unwanted, uninvited guests? Yes, I suppose I did contribute to that. I take a small, deliberate sip of my champagne, my hand perfectly steady. It seems York's social arrangements are rather more complicated than you led anyone to believe. The dry humor, if anyone else catches it, is lost in the sheer drama of the moment. But for me, it's a tiny, internal anchor. He shakes his head, as if trying to clear it. "This isn't over, Anna," he hisses, his voice low and venomous. "You have no idea." "Oh, I think I do, Mark. I think I have a very good idea. And you, my dear, clueless husband, are the one who has no idea what's truly in store. Because the removal of Evelyn Hayes, as satisfying as it was, is only Act 1. Actually, Mark," I say, my voice dropping a little, taking on a harder edge, "I think it is over. In more ways than 1 inch I reach into the small, elegant clutch purse I'm carrying. The one that matches my dress. The one that, until now, has held only lipstick and a handkerchief. I pull out a folded sheaf of papers. Not airline tickets this time. Something far more definitive. These were delivered to your office yesterday afternoon. I imagine you were too busy preparing for your trip to check your mail." I hold them out. Not to him directly, but so the nearest guests, my parents, can see the letterhead. It's from a prominent divorce attorney in our city. "My attorney." Mark stares at the papers as if they're live scorpions. What is that?" "That, Mark," I say, my voice ringing with a clarity that surprises even me, "is a petition for divorce. Citing adultery, among other things." Irreconcilable differences seems a bit of an understatement, don't you think? A collective gasp ripples through the onlookers. Mark's face, already pale, turns a sickly shade of gray. He looks like he's been punched in the gut. "And this," I continue, my voice relentless, "is a court order, effective as of this morning, freezing all our joint marital assets. Bank accounts, investment portfolios, the works. I found your penchant for funding first-class travel for your companions rather alarming. I decided to protect what's mine. And, by extension, what was ours, before you decided to share it so generously." His jaw drops. He actually sways on his feet. The smug, confident man who boarded that plane, so sure of his cleverness, is gone. In his place is a stunned, sputtering wreck. You can't," he stammers. "Oh, I can, Mark. And I allow a small, cold smile to touch my lips. "You see, while you were busy planning your romantic getaway to my sister's wedding, I was busy too. I was discovering your burner phone. I was finding the receipts for gifts I never received, dinners I never attended, hotel rooms you claimed were for late nights at the office. I was piecing together the extent of your betrayal. And I was talking to lawyers. Very good lawyers." I let that sink in. The whispers among the guests grow louder. I can see the mixture of shock, pity, for me, I hope, and disgust for him, definitely, on their faces. "But that's not all, Mark," I say, pressing my advantage. "He looks like he can't take much more, but I'm not done. Not by a long shot. Remember all those client entertainment expenses you've been racking up on the company card? The ones for Ms. Hayes, perhaps? I took the liberty of compiling a rather detailed dossier. Copies have been sent to the senior partners at your firm. And, just for good measure, to the IRS. Tax evasion through fraudulent business expenses is such a messy business, isn't it? This is the kill shot. His career, his reputation, his financial security, all crumbling." He stares at me, his eyes wide with a terror that is immensely, deeply satisfying to behold. He underestimated me. He thought I was the quiet, compliant wife. He never imagined I had this in me. He never imagined I could be this ruthless, this strategic. He thought he was playing a game, and he just found out I changed all the rules, redesigned the board, and checkmated him before he even knew we were truly playing. You wouldn't," he whispers, his voice barely audible. "I already did," I reply, my voice like ice. "You are so worried about having a stress-free vacation, Mark. Well, consider your stress officially managed. You have nothing left to worry about with me.
Or your job.
Or your comfortable little life. You made your choices. Now you get to live with the consequences." He looks around, a wild, hunted animal. He sees no sympathy, no escape. My father is now standing, his fists clenched, looking like he might physically throw Mark out. Tom is protectively shielding Sarah. My mother is crying quietly, but her eyes, when they meet mine, hold a fierce, maternal pride. Mark turns and stumbles away, not towards the exit Evelyn was escorted through, but towards a service door, disappearing into the kitchens. He's running. Coward. Good riddance. The moment he's gone, a wave of exhaustion hits me, so profound I almost stagger. Sarah rushes to my side, her eyes filled with tears.
Anna.
Oh, Anna, I had no idea. Are you okay? I manage a weak smile. I will be, sweetie. I promise. I'm sorry this happened at your wedding. Don't you dare apologize, she says fiercely, hugging me tight. He's the one who should be sorry. He's despicable. How could he? My father comes over, his face grim, but his eyes full of love.
You did what you had to do, Annie. We're proud of you.
So damn proud. My mother joins the hug, her tears now for me, for what I've been through. The band, after a moment of stunned silence and a quick, hushed consultation, bravely strikes up a cheerful tune. Some guests, recovering from the shock, begin to talk again, in hushed tones at first, then a little louder. The spell is broken. The drama, for now, is over. The rest of the reception is surreal. There's an undercurrent of shock and excitement, of course. I'm sure this will be the wedding story to end all wedding stories. But there's also an outpouring of support for me, for Sarah. People go out of their way to tell me how strong I am, how brave. I don't feel particularly brave. I just feel empty, but also strangely lighter. The burden of the secret, the weight of the betrayal, it's lifted. It's out in the open, and I faced it. I didn't just face it, I conquered it. Sarah, bless her resilient heart, insists on enjoying her wedding. He's not going to ruin this for me, she declares, grabbing Tom's hand and pulling him onto the dance floor. And slowly, the party resumes, a little more subdued perhaps, but with a renewed sense of celebration, almost in defiance of what just happened. I watch my sister dance with her new husband, her face shining with happiness, and I know I did the right thing. Her day, while undeniably dramatic, was ultimately protected. Her joy remains intact. Later that evening, after the guests have departed and the family is gathered in a private suite, the full story comes out. I tell them everything from the discovery of the e-ticket to the months of quiet investigation, the planning, the hiring of the security team. There are tears, anger, and a lot of hugs. My father, a man of few words, simply says, he picked the wrong woman to mess with, and in that moment, I realize he's right. Mark thought he was dealing with a doormat. He found a sleeping tiger instead. The aftermath is messy, of course. Divorce is never clean. Mark tries to fight, to recriminate, to play the victim. But the evidence is overwhelming. His affair, his financial indiscretions, his public meltdown at the wedding, it all paints a very clear picture. His law firm launches an internal investigation. Friends we shared take sides, mostly mine. The life we built together is systematically dismantled, piece by piece. There are days of profound sadness, of grief for the marriage I thought I had, for the man I thought Mark was. There are days of anger, of bitterness. But threaded through it all is a growing sense of liberation. I threw myself into my work, into rebuilding my life, on my own terms. Sarah and Tom are my staunchest supporters, my rock. My family rallies around me, a protective circle of love. Slowly, very slowly, the wounds begin to heal. The sharp edges of the pain begin to soften. I learn to sleep through the night again. I start to laugh again, genuinely. Months later, the divorce is finalized. Mark loses his job, his reputation in ruins. I hear through the grapevine that Evelyn Hayes didn't stick around once the first-class flights and expensive dinners dried up. No surprise there. He's left with the consequences of his actions, a hollowed-out version of the confident man he once was. There's a grim satisfaction in that, but it's not joy. It's just justice. A sad, necessary balancing of the scales. I keep the lavender chiffon dress I wore to Sarah's wedding. It hangs in the back of my closet, A reminder not of betrayal, but of strength. A reminder that even in the darkest moments, when the floor drops out from beneath you, you can find the courage to stand up, to fight back, to rewrite the ending of your own story. It wasn't the fairy tale I'd once dreamed of, but it's my story. And I'm the one holding the pen now. The view from here, looking forward, is surprisingly clear, and for the first time in a long time, it's full of possibility. The storm is past, and I'm still standing. If this story hit close to home, or if you've ever had to find strength you didn't know you possessed, I'd love to hear your version. Drop a comment with where you're listening from and what time it is. Your stories, your presence here, it truly makes a difference. And please, if you haven't already, subscribe. It helps bring more of these stories to life, and I'm grateful for every single one of you.